God has answered my prayer. This child, maybe she is meant for us. Chike looked at his wife, then at the baby. His face softened. She is innocent. We cannot leave her here. If nobody wants her, then she will be our daughter. Ngozi smiled through her tears, touching the baby's tiny hand. Her name will be Onyinyechi, God's gift. And just like that, Onyinyechi's new life began. The morning sun rose slowly over the red roofs of Umocha village. Birds whistled on the trees and children ran barefoot on the sandy road, chasing each other before heading to the stream. Life in the village always started early, with farmers moving to their farmlands and traders opening their small wooden stalls at the market square. In the middle of the village lived a young woman named Obioma. She was only 21, beautiful, tall, and full of life. People often said she had the kind of face that could make a man lose his way home. Her beauty was her pride, and her parents, poor farmers, believed she would bring honor to the family. But life had other plans. Obioma sat quietly inside her small room that morning, her back against the mud wall, her hands rubbing her swollen stomach. Tears filled her eyes. She was 7 months pregnant. Her parents did not know yet. She had been hiding it under loose wrappers and pretending to be sick whenever neighbors asked why she looked different. But the truth was already heavy inside her, and the time was coming when no wrapper would cover it. Her father, Papa Obioma, was a strict man who believed in discipline and respect. Her mother, Mama Obioma, was a hard-working woman who sold vegetables at the market. They were proud of their daughter, who had finished secondary school and was known as one of the brightest girls in the village. But Obioma's mistake had broken that pride. It all started when she met Ikenna, a trader from the neighboring town. He was handsome, smooth-talking, and promised her love, marriage, and a better life in the city. Obioma, young and naive, believed him. She gave him her heart and soon her body too. But the moment she told him she was pregnant, he disappeared. His phone number stopped going through, and nobody in his town knew his whereabouts. Now Obioma was alone. One afternoon, as Obioma walked to the stream to fetch water, some village women noticed her stomach. They exchanged looks and whispered. One of them, Nneka, a loud woman who loved gossip, pointed at her. Obioma, are you pregnant, Idime? She asked, her eyes wide with fake surprise. Obioma froze, her heart beating fast. She forced a weak smile. No, I'm just adding weight, that's all. But the women laughed. Adding weight, Ikwa. Look at your belly now. So, she has joined the girls who bring shame to their families, Nneka said loudly so everyone around could hear. By evening, the news had spread across Omocha. At night, Papa Obioma stormed into her room. Obioma, he shouted, stand up. She trembled, standing with her head down. Is it true? You are carrying a bastard? Tears rolled down her cheeks. Papa, I am sorry. I made a mistake. Her father's eyes turned red with anger. Shame! Shame to this family. After all the hope we had for you, this is what you bring us? A child without a father? Do you want people to laugh at me in the village council? Do you want them to spit on my face? Papa, please. But before she could finish, he raised his hand and slapped her. If you stay in this house and give birth, I swear, I will chase you away with cutlass. Her mother tried to hold him. Please calm down, Nai. She's still our daughter. But Papa Obioma turned to his wife angrily. If you defend her again, you will live with her. That night, Obioma cried until her eyes were swollen. She felt alone, hated, and abandoned. The whole village mocked her, and her own father had rejected her. Months later, Obioma's stomach grew bigger, and she could no longer hide it. People insulted her openly. Children pointed at her and laughed. Men who once admired her beauty now spat on the ground when she passed. "You have brought disgrace to yourself," one old woman told her. "No man will marry you now." When the time for delivery came, Obioma was in pain all night. Her mother helped her, but her father refused to step inside the room. After hours of crying and struggling, she finally gave birth to a baby girl. The cry of the newborn filled the small mud house. Mama Obioma smiled weakly. "She's beautiful. Look at her little fingers." But Obioma only stared at the baby with fear. She knew this child was both her blood and her curse. Her father refused to look at the baby. "Take that bastard away from me," he shouted from outside. Days turned into weeks. Obioma nursed the baby, but the shame in the eyes of her neighbors never left her. Everywhere she went, people whispered. Some even refused to buy vegetables from her mother at the market, saying they didn't want to be associated with a spoiled family. Obioma felt trapped. She loved her baby, but also hated the pain the child had brought her. One night, she sat awake staring at her daughter. The baby smiled in her sleep, her small lips twitching. Obioma's heart ached. "What future do I have with you?" she whispered. "Who will marry me with you by my side? Who will give us a good life? You are innocent, but you are the reason I am finished." Tears dropped from her eyes. For the first time, a dangerous thought entered her mind. What if I leave her? One Sunday morning, the village church bells rang loudly as people trooped in with their Bibles and hymn books. Obioma, carrying her baby on her back, pretended she was also going to church, but her heart was heavy. She walked past the church compound and stood under a mango tree shaking. The baby slept peacefully. Her mind battled with itself. "Obioma, don't do this." A voice in her head whispered. "But I have no choice," another voice answered. She remembered her father's angry words, the villagers' insults, and her own dreams of escaping the village. She wanted freedom, and in her mind, the baby was the chain holding her down. Slowly, with trembling hands, she laid the baby on the soft grass near the church fence. "Forgive me, my child," she whispered, kissing her forehead. "I pray someone better than me will take care of you." Her tears dropped on the baby's blanket. Then she turned and walked away quickly, not looking back. Her heart broke with every step, but she forced herself to keep walking until she disappeared into the bush path leading home. Minutes later, Chike and his wife Ngozi walked past the church. They were a poor couple who lived on the edge of the village. Chike was a palm wine tapper, and Ngozi sold akara by the roadside. They had been married for 10 years without a child, and it was their deepest sorrow. As they passed the church fence, they heard a faint cry. Ngozi stopped. "Chike, did you hear that?" "Hear what?" Chike asked. "A baby. Listen." They both listened, and indeed, the soft cry of a newborn reached their ears. They followed the sound and found a small baby wrapped in a faded cloth, lying helplessly under the mango tree. Ngozi gasped, her hands on her head. "Chineke, a baby! Who would abandon such a beautiful child?" Chike bent down, carefully lifting the baby. The child stopped crying immediately and blinked up at him. Ngozi's eyes filled with tears. "God has answered my prayer. This child, maybe she is meant for us." Chike looked at his wife, then at the baby. His face softened. "She is innocent. We cannot leave her here. If nobody wants her, then she will be our daughter." Ngozi smiled through her tears, touching the baby's tiny hand. "Her name will be Onyinyechi, God's gift." And just like that, Onyinyechi's new life began. The baby, Onyinye, grew up in the small but loving home of Chike and Ngozi. Their house was not big, just a single rented room inside a compound in Umocha village. The roof was covered with rusted zinc sheets, and when rain fell, they placed buckets on the floor to collect the dripping water. But it was home, filled with laughter, prayers, and love. From the first day they carried Onyinyechi into their room, everything changed for them. Ngozi could not stop smiling. She wrapped the baby in clean clothes, sang to her every night, and carried her proudly in front of the compound women. Though poor, they treated the child like treasure. This child is our blessing, Ngozi would always say. Even if we have nothing, we have her. Chike agreed. She will bring joy to our lives, he said. As Onyinyechi grew, neighbors noticed the difference in the couple. Before, Ngozi was always quiet, looking sad whenever she saw other women with children. Now, she was full of energy, laughing and singing around the compound. Onyinye's first steps brought tears to her mother's eyes. My baby can walk. Come to mama. Ngozi clapped her hands, and the little girl waddled into her arms. Chike lifted her high into the air. You will go far, my daughter. The sky is your limit. Even though they had no money, they made sure Onyinyechi never lacked food. Chike tapped palm wine in the morning, while Ngozi fried akara by the roadside in the evening. With the little they earned, they bought garri, beans, and sometimes fish. The girl grew tall and strong, her smile bright like the morning sun. At the age of 6, Chike and Ngozi enrolled Onyinye in the village primary school. The building was old with cracked walls, but teachers did their best. Onyinye went to school wearing second-hand uniforms that Ngozi bought from the market. Her shoes were sometimes torn, and her notebooks few, but her parents encouraged her. Go and learn, my daughter, Ngozi told her every morning. Education will open doors for you. At first, Onyinye struggled. She could not read as fast as other children, and sometimes her classmates mocked her. See Onyinye, she's dull, one boy said when she failed to answer a question. Tears filled her eyes that day, but when she got home, Chike sat beside her. My daughter, don't mind them. Nobody is born dull. You just need to try harder. Ngozi added softly, you are special. Even if the whole world laughs at you, we will always believe in you. Those words gave Onyinye strength. She began to spend long hours reading under the dim light of their kerosene lamp. Ngozi would sit by her side, fanning her against mosquitoes, while Chike checked her spelling. Slowly, her results improved. One day, her teacher, Mr. Okafor, called her out in class. Clap for Onyinyechi. She got the highest score in mathematics. The children clapped, and Onyinyechi's heart swelled with joy. From that moment, she was no longer the struggling girl. She became one of the brightest in her class. While Onyinyechi's star was rising in the small village, Obioma's life in the city was full of pain. After abandoning her baby, she had left for Enugu City, hoping to find a better life. But life in the city was not easy. She rented a single room in a crowded compound where tenants quarreled every day over water and electricity. Her first job was washing plates in a buka. The pay was little, and her boss often shouted at her, Obioma, you are too slow. Customers are waiting. She would bow her head, tears burning her eyes. At night, she returned to her room exhausted, her back aching from bending all day. After some months, she tried hawking granules and oranges on the street. She walked long distances under the hot sun, balancing her tray on her head. Sometimes, boys mocked her or snatched fruits without paying, but she had no choice. Despite all her efforts, poverty clung to her like a shadow. She often went to bed hungry, drinking only garri soaked with water. Back in the village, Onyinyechi continued to shine. At the end of her primary school years, she took first position. The headmaster, in front of parents and pupils, called her name. Onyinyechi Chike. Chike and Ngozi stood proudly, tears in their eyes, as Onyinyechi collected her prize, a small dictionary. To them, it was more valuable than gold. My daughter will be a great woman one day, Ngozi whispered to her husband. Meanwhile, Obioma sat alone in her sitting room that same night, eating garri with no sugar. Outside, neighbors laughed as they shared food together. She hugged herself tightly, her eyes empty. If only I had made better choices, she thought. If only I had someone to lean on. But she never spoke of the child she left behind. The memory haunted her, but she buried it deep. Chike and Ngozi worked harder to send Onyinyechi to secondary school. It was expensive, but they believed in her future. Sometimes, Chike sold more palm wine than his body could bear, climbing tall palm trees even when he was tired. One evening, he returned with blisters on his hands. Papa, your hands are bleeding, Onyinyechi cried. But he smiled. Don't worry about me. I am strong. Just promise me you will read well. Onyinyechi nodded, tears in her eyes. I promise, Papa. In school, life was not easy. Some students teased her because she came from a poor home. She wore old uniforms, and her lunch box was usually just garri with groundnut. But Onyinye refused to give up. She read late into the night, pushing herself. Teachers began to notice her brilliance. She became a leader in class, often helping other students understand difficult subjects. In Enugu, Obioma thought things would change when she met a man who promised to marry her. His name was Emeka, a mechanic. For some time, he treated her well, buying her food and paying part of her rent. But soon, his true nature came out. He drank heavily, beat her whenever he was hungry, and finally abandoned her for another woman. Obioma sat on her bed one night, nursing bruises on her arm. She looked around her empty room. No food, no money, no comfort. God, why is my life like this? She cried. The faces of her parents flashed in her mind. Then the tiny face of her baby girl she had left years ago. She quickly shook her head, refusing to think about it. Years passed, and the gap between mother and daughter widened. Onyinyechi finished secondary school with flying colors. The school principal called her parent. Your daughter is brilliant. She has a chance to get a scholarship if she continues like this. Chike and Ngozi almost knelt down in gratitude. They returned home singing praises. But in Enugu, Obioma's life grew harder. Rent increased, jobs became scarce, and she moved from one menial work to another. Sometimes, she joined other women to carry loads at the market for small money. Other times, she scrubbed people's clothes for pay. Her beauty began to fade, her skin rough from the sun, her hands hard from endless labor. Yet, deep inside her, regret lived like a stubborn shadow. One rainy night, Obioma sat in her room, listening to the drops hitting the zinc roof. The wind blew cold through the window. She hugged herself, tears falling down her cheeks. Where is my child now? She thought. Is she alive? Is she suffering? Or did she die that day I left her? The thought tortured her, but she had no answers. Meanwhile, in Omocha, Onye sat with Ngozi and Chike, eating roasted corn and laughing as rain drummed on their own zinc roof. Their clothes were old and food was simple, but their hearts were full of peace. Ngozi touched her daughter's cheek. My Onyinyechi, never forget. Love is greater than money. We may be poor, but we are rich because we have you. Onyinyechi smiled, resting her head on her mother's shoulder. The sun rose slowly over Omocha village, touching the zinc roofs with golden light. Birds chirped on the electric wires, and children carried buckets on their heads as they went to fetch water. In the small rented room where Chike, Ngozi, and Onyinye lived, there was joy mixed with hope. Onyinye had just finished her final secondary school exams, and her results had come out. She sat at the small wooden table with her parents, holding the paper tightly in her hands. Mama, Papa, she said with a shy smile, I passed all my subjects. I got A's in English, mathematics, and biology. Ngozi clapped her hands and almost burst into tears. Jesus, my daughter, you have made us proud. Chike's chest rose with pride. Didn't I tell you, Ngozi, this girl is not ordinary. Onyinyechi, you will go far. Onyinyechi's heart was full. She remembered the long night she studied under the kerosene lamp, the times she ate garri without sugar just to save money for textbooks, the times her classmates mocked her. Now, it was all worth it. A few weeks later, the principal called Onyinye to his office. She entered, trembling a little, as she saw him smile. Onyinyechi, sit down. he said warmly. Yes, sir. He looked at her result again. You are one of the best students this school has ever produced. I am happy to tell you that the state government is offering you a scholarship to study at the university. They will pay your tuition and give you an allowance. Onyechi gasped. Her eyes widened. Sir, a scholarship? For me? Yes, he nodded. You earned it. You deserve it. Tears filled her eyes. She quickly stood and knelt down. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jesus. She ran home with the news. Ngozi was washing clothes in a basin outside the compound, while Chike was mending his raffia basket. Mama, Papa, I got a scholarship, she shouted, dropping her bag. Ngozi's hands froze in the soapy water. What did you say? They will pay for my university. I will go to school without you suffering again. Ngozi screamed in joy, splashing soapy water everywhere. She ran to hug her daughter. God has answered our prayer, oh, Onyinye, you are our light. Chike stood, his eyes wet with tears he tried to hide. He raised his hands to the sky. God, thank you. I am a poor man, but you have remembered me through my daughter. That night, the three of them sat together, eating beans and yam with laughter. They had no meat, but the food tasted like a feast. When the time came, Onyinyechi packed her few belongings into a small box. Ngozi folded her best clothes for her, and Chike tied a little bundle of food items. Remember where you came from, Ngozi told her, holding her hands tightly. Don't be carried away by city life. Yes, Mama, Onyinyechi nodded. I will make you proud. Chike hugged her. Read your books. Don't join bad friends. Your future is bright. With tears in her eyes, Onyinye entered the bus that would take her to the university in Nsukka. She waved as her parents waved back, their hearts full of both sadness and pride. The university campus was bigger than anything Onyinyechi had ever seen. Tall buildings, tiled roads, students rushing with books. It was another world. She felt small at first, almost lost in the crowd. But she reminded herself of her parents' sacrifices and the scholarship she had earned. She promised herself she would not waste it. At first, university life was hard. Her roommates laughed at her village accent and the way she wore simple clothes. Some of them had expensive phones, wigs, and shoes. Look at this one girl, Amarachi sneered, always repeating one pair of sandals. Onyeti swallowed her pain and focused on her books. She spent long hours in the library, writing notes and asking questions in class. Slowly, lecturers began to notice her seriousness. One day, after a difficult test, her lecturer, Dr. Okechukwu, said, Onyinyechi, you are one of the few who passed this exam well. Keep it up. Her classmates were shocked. They had laughed at her, but now they began to respect her. Some even came to her for help. Onyinyechi, can you explain this topic to me? The boy asked one evening. She smiled. Of course. Sit down. Let's go over it together. She became known as one of the brightest students, a girl from nowhere who carried herself with dignity. At night, she often thought of her parents. She would whisper to herself, I will not disappoint them. I will finish strong. I will give them a better life. While Onyinyechi was shining in school, her biological mother Obioma was living another story. After many years of struggling alone in Enugu, she met a man again named Ifeanyi. He was a bricklayer, kind at first, and he promised her marriage. Obioma, now in her early 40s, felt it was a chance for stability. They got married in a small registry office with only 2 witnesses. Obioma wore a borrowed gown, smiling shyly. At first, the marriage gave her hope. Ifeanyi worked at construction sites, and she sold okpa by the roadside. They rented a small room together, and for a while, she felt she had found peace. But poverty does not hide for long. Just became scarce. Ifeanyi began to drink, and soon quarrels filled the small room. You are lazy, Obioma, he shouted one night. Other women are supporting their husbands. What do you even bring to this house? Obioma threw down the empty pot. Is it me that made you poor? Am I the one that told you to marry me when you cannot feed me? Slaps followed, tears followed, and slowly love died. Obioma often went to the market to sell her okpa. She would sit on a small stool with her tray, shouting for customers. Okpa di oku, hot okpa, buy and eat. But whenever she saw women with their children, something broke inside her. One day, a young mother passed with her daughter holding her small hand. The little girl laughed as her mother bought tomatoes. Obiama's eyes filled with tears. She whispered to herself, "That could have been me. That could have been my daughter." Her heart twisted in pain. She remembered the tiny baby she had left near the church years ago. She wondered if the child had survived, if she was hungry or happy, if she hated her mother. At night, she lay on her mat staring at the ceiling. Ifeanyi was often out drinking and she was left alone with her thoughts. "God," she prayed in a broken voice, "please forgive me. I was foolish. I abandoned my own blood. If she's alive, take care of her for me." But the guilt never left her. In the uni, Onyechi grew stronger and more confident. She joined a group that organized seminars for young girls, encouraging them to study hard. She stood on a stage one day, her voice clear. "Where you come from does not determine where you will end up," she told the crowd. "I am a village girl, but I know I will succeed because I refuse to give up." The hall clapped. Her words touched many students. Later that night, she called home. "Mama, Papa, I gave a speech today." Ngozi's voice shook with pride. "My daughter, you are going higher every day. I wish I could see you now." "Don't worry, Mama," Onyechi smiled. "One day, I will make you live in comfort." Meanwhile, Obiama's marriage was falling apart. Ifeanyi hardly came home, and when he did, he was drunk, sometimes slept outside on the corridor. Neighbors whispered, "This marriage will not last." One evening, after a big fight, Ifeanyi packed his clothes and left. "I am done with you. You are nothing but bad luck." Obiama sat on the floor, crying. Her dreams of a stable marriage were over. She was back to square one, poor, lonely, and broken. That night, as she lay alone, she thought again of the baby she had left. "Maybe, if I had kept her," she whispered, "my life would not be like this." The regrets grew heavier every day. Whenever she saw a young woman with a child, her heart bled. While Obioma drowned in pain, Onyechi was dreaming big. She applied for international conferences, joined debates, and made friends who believed in her. She often sat under a tree in the university compound, writing in her notebook, "One day, I will start a company. One day, I will change lives. One day, I will take my parents out of poverty." She had no idea that somewhere far away, her real mother sat on a wooden stool in a noisy market selling okpa, staring into space and wondering if her daughter was still alive. Two lives, one bloodline, but different paths. One climbing higher, the other sinking deeper, and slowly fate was preparing to bring them together again. The hot sun beat down on the wide field of Nsukka University. Rows of chairs filled the space, and students, dressed in black gowns and caps, sat waiting for their names to be called. Proud parents filled the seats, singing and clapping for their children. Among the graduates was Onyinyechi, sitting tall with her certificate folder in her lap. Her heart was full of gratitude. She had come from nothing, from a village where people mocked her for being poor, and now she was wearing the gown of success. In the crowd, Chike and Ngozi sat together, their faces glowing with joy. Ngozi had tied her best wrapper, and Chike wore a simple shirt, his hands folded like a man who has seen the goodness of God. When Onyinye's name was called, Chike shouted, "That is my daughter!" Ngozi wiped tears from her eyes as Onyinye walked up to collect her certificate. After the ceremony, they hugged her tightly. "My daughter," Ngozi whispered, "you have wiped away our tears." Chike held her shoulders. "You are the pride of our lives. This is only the beginning." Onyinye smiled through tears. "I will make you proud, Papa, Mama. I will never forget what you and Papa did for me." After graduation, Onyechi returned to Omocha village for a short time. The whole community celebrated her. Children ran after her shouting, "Auntie graduate, Auntie graduate." Neighbors greeted Chike and Ngozi with respect. "Your daughter is a blessing. May God reward you." But Onyinye knew she could not remain in the village. Jobs were scarce, and she wanted more for herself and for her parents. "Mama, Papa," she said one evening as they ate yam and red oil, "I want to move to Lagos. I want to start a small business. I know it will not be easy, but I'm ready to work hard. Ngozi's face was worried. Lagos is far, my daughter. It is a city of both good and evil. Will you manage? Onyinye reached for her hand. I will manage, Mama. You always told me education opened doors. This is the time for me to open mine. Chike nodded slowly. If your heart is strong, then go. We are with you in prayer. Lagos was a different world. The noise of buses shouting, Oshodi, CMS, Yaba, filled the air. The smell of roasted corn, fried akara, and exhaust fumes mixed together. Tall buildings rose in some parts, while wooden kiosks lined the street in others. Onyinye rented a small single room in a face-me-I-face-you compound in Surulere. The corridor was narrow, and the tenants shared one bathroom. But she did not complain. It was her starting point. With the little savings from her scholarship allowance, she began selling foodstuffs, rice, beans, palm oil, and crayfish in a small store she rented at the market. The first months were tough. Big traders looked down on her. This small girl, what does she know about business? One woman scoffed. Sometimes customers ignored her store. Sometimes she went home with almost nothing, but Onyinye refused to give up. Every morning she woke up before dawn, tied her scarf, and went to buy goods from wholesalers. She carried heavy bags, sweating, but she kept going. At night, she counted her small profits by the dim light of her rechargeable lamp and whispered, one day this will grow. One day I will build an empire. Back in the village, Chike and Ngozi prayed for her every night. They sometimes worried if she was eating well or if the city was treating her kindly. Onyinye never forgets them. Every month, no matter how small her profit was, she sent something home. Mama, Papa, she said one day over the phone, I'm sending you 10,000 naira. Please buy food. Ngozi cried, my daughter, you are the one struggling, yet you remember us. May your pockets never run dry. Chike's voice shook. Onyinyechi, we are proud of you. Even if you send nothing, we are proud. Her heart warmed. Their love was her strength. Months turned into years, and Onyinyechi's discipline began to pay off. She expanded from one store to 3. She started supplying goods to restaurants and small shops. Her name spread in the market as a young woman who was honest and hardworking. One day, a big restaurant owner came to her store. Are you the Onyinye I hear about? Yes, sir, she replied politely. They said you supply quality goods and you don't cheat. I want you to be my supplier. That deal changed everything. Her business grew fast. She bought a second-hand car to transport goods, and she employed 2 assistants. The other traders who once mocked her now greeted her with respect. Auntie Onyinyechi, good morning, oh. Please, can you give me your contact? Her dream was coming true. As her wealth grew, Onyinyechi did not forget her roots. She sent more money home, renovated her parents' room in the village, and even, soon, built them a small bungalow with a zinc roof of cement floor. When it was completed, Ngozi knelt down on the floor crying, my daughter, I never dreamed I would live in a house like this. Chike placed his hand on Onyinye's shoulder. You are more than a daughter. You are a blessing. Onyinye smiled. Mama, Papa, you gave me love when you had nothing. This is the least I can do. In Lagos, she joined business associations, attended seminars, and met people who admired her. Soon, she was invited to speak to young women about starting small businesses. Standing on stage in a neat suit, she told them, I started with nothing. My parents were poor, but I worked hard, and I did not give up. If I can do it, you can too. The audience clapped loudly. Her influence was spreading. While Onyinye's star was rising, her biological mother, Obioma, was sinking deeper into misery. She could not pay rent anymore, so she moved into a small shack in a poor slum in Enugu. The shack had leaking zinc, a broken wooden door, and a floor of cracked cement. Rats ran freely at night. Obioma sold roasted groundnuts now by the roadside, but the money was barely enough. Many nights she ate only garri with water. Her beauty had faded completely. Her once bright eyes were now sunken, her skin rough, her back bent from hardship. Sometimes she sat outside watching mothers walk past with their children. The girls wore neat school uniforms, laughing as they held their mother's hands. Each time, pain stabbed Obioma's heart. If only I have kept my child, she whispered. Maybe she would have cared for me now. Regret became her closest companion. One hot afternoon in the slum, Obioma sat on her stool, fanning herself with a torn magazine. Beside her, two women were talking. Have you heard of that young woman in Lagos Island Market? The one that is very rich now. Yes, so they say her name is Onyinyechi. She's young but very smart. People respect her. Obioma's head lifted. They say she has a small birthmark on her left shoulder. The other woman added, very clear, like a round spot. Obioma froze. Her hand shook. A birthmark on the left shoulder. Her mind raced back to the tiny baby she abandoned near the church many years ago. That baby had the same birthmark. Her lips trembled. Jesus. Could it be my... No. Her heart pounded loudly in her chest. For the first time in years, a ray of hope and fear entered her broken life. The afternoon sun in Enugu was hot and merciless. The street buzzed with noise, hawkers shouting, buses honking, and people rushed in every direction. In the middle of it all sat Obioma, her tray of roasted groundnuts almost empty. Sweat soaked her faded blouse as she found herself with a piece of carton. She had just sold her last cup of groundnuts for 200 naira. She counted the coins in her hand and sighed. This one cannot even buy me kerosene, she muttered. Her stomach rumbled, reminding her that she had not eaten since morning. She licked her dry lips and thought of buying bread, but the money was too small. She would have to sow garri again tonight. Her life had become a circle of hunger, debt, and regret. The small shack where she lived leaked whenever it rained. Her mat was thin, her pot almost always empty. Neighbors avoided her because she often begged for food or kerosene. One evening, her landlady knocked on the door. Obioma, your rent has expired. 2 months now, no payment. Are you waiting for me to carry you and your things out? Obioma knelt down, tears in her eyes. Please, give me more time. Business is slow. The landlady folded her arms. Time? Every day you beg for time. If I don't see my money by next week, you will sleep outside. When the woman left, Obioma collapsed on the floor, crying. She pressed her hands against her chest as if to stop her from breaking. How did I end up like this? She whispered. God, why me? Her thoughts returned to the rumor she had about the young woman in Lagos Island Market, Onyinyechi, with a birthmark like her child. She had tried to dismiss it, but the thought refused to leave her mind. At night, Obioma lay awake, staring at the cracked ceiling. The room was dark except for the faint glow of the street light outside. She remembered the tiny baby she had abandoned years ago. She remembered the soft cry, the little fingers, and the small birthmark on her shoulder. Could it be her? She asked herself again and again. Could she still be alive, and how rich? Fear battled with hope inside her. What if she searched and found the girl? What if the girl rejected her? Her chest tightened. But I cannot continue like this. I will die in this poverty. If she's truly my daughter, then maybe she can forgive me. The next morning, Obioma traveled to Lagos. When she got to Lagos, she gathered the courage to ask around the market. Please, do you know Onyinyechi, the businesswoman? People pointed her to the big foodstuff store in Balogun Market. Obioma went there, her heart beating fast. When she arrived, she saw a large shop with bags of rice and beans stacked neatly. The signboard read, Onyinye Supplies Limited. Workers moved in and out, loading goods into trucks. Obioma's mouth fell open. She stood frozen, watching. So it is true, she whispered. She's successful. Could this be my child? She wanted to go inside, but her legs refused to move. She felt dirty in her torn wrapper compared to the neat workers in uniforms. Fear gripped her. What if Onyinyechi threw her out? What if she called her a wicked woman? Obioma turned and walked away, her heart heavy. At that very moment, inside the shop, Onyinye was giving instructions. She wore a simple but smart dress, her hair tied back, her eyes shone with confidence. Make sure the rice goes to Lekki today, she told her workers, and please check the beans before loading. Customers trust us because we give quality. Yes, madam, they replied. Onyinye smiled. Business was going well. She had worked hard for years, and now her company was growing fast. She had opened 2 branches in Lagos, and restaurants and hotels trusted her supplies. Yet, in the middle of her success, she sometimes felt an emptiness. At night, when she returned to her apartment, she often sat quietly. Her parents had always been honest with her. From the time she was old enough to understand, Ngozi had told her the truth. "My daughter, we are not your real parent." Ngozi said gently one evening years ago, "But we love you with all our hearts. We found you as a baby, abandoned near the church. From that day, you became a gift from God." Onyinye had cried that night, hugging her mother tightly. "Mama, you're my real parent. Even if someone else gave birth to me, you and Papa are the ones who raised me." But as she grew older, curiosity remained. Who was her real mother? Why had she abandoned her? Was she still alive? One evening, Onyinye sat in her office after all the workers had gone. She opened her old diary, flipping through pages. She wrote slowly, "I am grateful for my parents who raised me, but sometimes I wonder about the woman who gave me life. Did she even think of me? Did she regret leaving me, or did she forget me completely?" She closed the diary and sighed. Her heart longed for answers, but she did not know where to start. Days turned into weeks. Obioma could no longer bear the hunger and shame. She started visiting Balogun market often, pretending to buy goods, just to see Onyinyechi from afar. Each time, she felt her heart break and heal at the same time. One afternoon, she stood near the shop again. She saw Onyinye step out, laughing with another businesswoman. The sight filled her with both pride and pain. "That is my daughter," she whispered, tears rolling down her cheeks. "My blood." But fear kept her silent. Back in her shack, she talked to herself. "If I don't tell her, I will die with this pain. If I tell her, she may hate me, but at least she will know the truth." She pressed her palms together and prayed, "God, give me the courage. Show me how to face her." Meanwhile, Onyinyechi received an invitation to speak at a women's empowerment program in Surulere. She accepted gladly. She wanted to inspire other young women. On the day of the event, Onyinyechi arrived in her car, dressed madly. She walked into the hall as women clapped for her. At the same time, Obioma came there. She saw a banner outside the hall with Onyinyechi's picture on it. Her heart almost stopped. "She's here, so close," she whispered. Her hands trembled. She wanted to enter, but shame held her back. She stood outside the gate, her eyes glued to the banner, her chest rising and falling quickly. Inside, Onyinyechi stood on stage, speaking confidently. "Never give up, no matter how small you start. I began with one stall, and today, by God's grace, I have many workers. Hard work and honesty will take you far." The audience clapped loudly. Obioma pressed her hand against her mouth to stop her sobs. She wanted to run inside and shout, "Onyinyechi, I am your mother," but her legs were weak. The suspense grew. Fate was slowly drawing mother and daughter closer, step by painful step. The hall in Surulere was filled with women of different ages. Some wore corporate suits, others simple Ankara, but all had come to listen to Onyinyechi speak. She stood on stage, her voice calm but powerful, sharing her journey from a poor store owner to a businesswoman with branches in Lagos. Every word touched heart. People clapped. Some even wiped tears. "Don't let your background hold you down," Onyinyechi said, her eyes shining. "I was raised by poor parents, but their love and my hard work brought me here. If I can do it, you can do it too." The clapping shook the hall. Outside, Obioma stood near the gate. The same young woman now stood inside, speaking confidently. Obioma's legs shook. "That is my daughter," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. She wanted to enter, but shame held her back. She looked down at her faded blouse, her dusty slippers. The gap between them felt like a deep river she could never cross. After the event, Onyinyechi walked outside with some organizers. People surrounded her, asking for her contact, congratulating her, taking pictures. She smiled politely, shaking hands. Obioma stood a few meters away, half hidden behind a small kiosk. Her heart beat loudly. Then, suddenly, Onyinyechi turned to give something to a woman beside her. The movement made her sleeve shift, and her left shoulder showed slightly. Obioma's eyes widened. There it was, the round birthmark, clear as day, the same one she had seen on the baby she abandoned many years ago. Her hands trembled. Her knees almost giving way, she gripped her tray tightly. It is her. I cannot deny it. She's the one. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered to herself, my baby is alive and she has become great. But fear silenced her. She could not move closer. She watched Onyinyechi enter her car and drive off, leaving her behind in the crowd. Obima sank onto the ground, crying into her palms. That night, she could not sleep. She tossed and turned, her mind racing. You saw her, Obioma, she told herself. You saw your child. How long will you keep hiding? You must speak before it is too late. The next morning, she made a decision. She would go to Balogun Market, to Onyinyechi's shop. When she arrived, she saw workers loading rice into a truck. Onyinye was standing nearby giving instructions. Obioma's heart pounded. She wanted to run, but she forced herself to stay. She took slow steps forward until she stood at the edge of the shop. A worker noticed her. Ma, do you want to buy something? Obioma shook her head quickly. No, I want to see Madam Onyinyechi. Wait, the worker said, walking off. Moments later, Onyinyechi turned and saw her. She smiled politely, thinking she was just another customer. Yes, ma, what do you need? Obioma's lips trembled. Words refused to come out. Speak, her mind shouted, but fear held her throat tight. She stammered. I just wanted to greet you. Onyinyechi nodded, still smiling. Thank you, ma. God bless you. She turned back to her work. Obioma walked away slowly, tears blinding her eyes. She had failed again. For days, she returned again and again, each time standing at a distance, each time leaving without speaking. Her heart grew heavier, hunger beat her. Rent was overdue, her clothes were wearing out. She felt death drawing closer with each passing day. Finally, one evening, as she sat outside, she whispered, if I die without telling her, I will never forgive myself. Even if she hates me, let her know the truth. She wiped her tears and promised herself the next time she saw Onyinye, she would confess. A chance came 1 week later. Onyinyechi was leaving her office when she saw an old woman standing by the gate. It was Obioma. Onyinye paused. She had seen the woman before, always hovering around her shop. Something about her face seemed strangely familiar, but she could not place it. Ma, are you waiting for me? Onyinyechi asked kindly. Obioma's lips quivered. She nodded slowly. Yes, please. Can I talk to you? Of course, Onyinyechi said, a little curious. She told her driver to wait and walked closer. What is it? Obioma's hands shook so badly she almost dropped her tray. Her voice came out in a whisper. My daughter, I am your mother. Onyinyechi froze, her eyes widened. What did you just say? Obioma burst into tears. I am your real mother. I am the one who gave birth to you many years ago. I abandoned you near a church. The words hit Onyinye like thunder. She staggered back. What nonsense are you talking about? My mother is Ngozi. My father is Chike. They raised me. Yes, Obioma sobbed. They are good people. They saved you. But I am the one who carried you in my womb. You were born with a birthmark on your left shoulder. The same one I saw on you at the event. Onyinyechi's face turned pale. She touched her shoulder unconsciously. How do you know that? Because I am your mother. Obioma cried louder. I was young, foolish, afraid. My parents rejected me. The village mocked me. I had no choice. I left you there, praying someone would save you, and God answered. Please, forgive me. Onyinye's chest rose and fell heavily. Her heart pounded in her ears. She could not believe what she was hearing. So, it's true, she whispered. All my life, I wondered. And now, you stand here to tell me you are the woman who threw me away? Obioma fell on her knees. My daughter, I am sorry. Please don't hate me. Poverty and shame blinded me. But I never forgot you, not one day. Onyinye's eyes filled with tears, while her face hardened. You left me to die. Do you know what could have happened to me? What kind of mother abandons her child like that? I was afraid, Obioma sobbed. I thought I had no choice. You had a choice, Onyinye shouted, her voice shaking. You could have kept me no matter what, but you threw me away like trash. People passing by stopped to watch. Some whispered, but Onyinye didn't care. Pain burned in her chest. I don't care if you gave birth to me, she said bitterly. You are not my mother. My real parents are Chike and Ngozi. The ones who loved me, suffered for me, raised me. You are nothing to me. Obioma gasped, as if struck by a knife. Tears streamed down her face. My daughter, please. But Onyinye shook her head. Her eyes were red with anger. No, don't call me your daughter. You lost that right the day you abandoned me. She turned and walked quickly to her car. Her driver opened the door and she entered, slamming it shut. Obioma remained on her knees. She stretched her hands towards the car as it drove away. My child, my Onyinyechi, she cried, her voice breaking, but Onyinye was gone. Her heart shattered, her soul torn between truth and betrayal. The memory of that day haunted Onyinye. She could see the old woman kneeling in front of her office crying, calling her my daughter. She could still hear the broken voice saying, I am your mother. Her heart burned whenever she thought about it. Anger and pain mixed together until she felt she could not breathe. That night, she sat alone in her apartment. Her food remained untouched on the table. She stared at the wall, lost in thought. How dare she? She whispered. How dare she show up after all these years? She threw me away like trash, and now she wants me to forgive her? Tears welled up in her eyes. She wiped them angrily. No, she doesn't deserve forgiveness. But deep inside, another voice whispered, she's still your mother. Onyinye shook her head, pressing her palms against her ears as if to silence the thought. The next morning, Onyinye called her parents in the village. Ngozi answered, her voice filled with joy. My daughter, how are you? Onyinye hesitated, her throat tightening. Mama, something happened. She told Ngozi everything about the old woman, the confession, the birthmark, and her anger. By the time she finished, tears were running down her cheeks. There was silence on the other end. Then Ngozi's voice came, soft but firm. My dear, I will not lie to you. What the woman did was wicked. But remember, nobody is perfect. People make mistakes. She's still your mother by blood. Onyinye's voice rose. Mama, no. You are my mother. You and Papa are the ones who raised me. That woman abandoned me. She has no right to call me her child. Chike's voice came in then. He had been listening. My daughter, he said gently. Your mother is right. We are proud to be your parent. But the truth is the woman carried you in her womb. If not for her, you would not be alive. Don't harden your heart completely. Onyinye wiped her tears. Papa, are you telling me to forgive that woman? I am telling you to pray about it, Chike replied. Forgiveness is hard, but it gives peace. Onyinye ended the call, feeling more confused than before. Later that week, she met with her close friend at a small restaurant. Her friend listened quietly as Onyinye narrated the whole story. When Onyinye finished, she slammed her hand on the table. What nonsense! Abandon you as a baby, then come back when you are successful. Please, my sister, don't let her use you. She doesn't deserve your forgiveness. Onyinye sighed, but she says she regrets it. She was young and afraid. Her friend rolled her eyes. Fear is not an excuse. Real mothers fight for their children no matter what. She left you to die. Forget her. The next day, Onyinye spoke to her colleague Tunde, a quiet man she respected. He listened carefully and then said, Onyinye, I lost my mother when I was a child. I would give anything to hear her voice again. You are lucky your mother is still alive. Even if she made mistakes, don't throw her away completely. Onyinye frowned. But she abandoned me. Do you know how that feels? Yes, Tunde said softly. I know how it feels to grow up without a mother. That pain never leaves, but anger will not heal you. Forgiveness may. Onyinye left his office even more confused. Meanwhile, Mima was breaking down. After Onyinye's rejection, she cried day and night. She stopped eating properly, surviving on garri and water. Her body grew weaker. She often lay on her mat, coughing and shivering. Neighbors in the slum began to whisper, that woman is suffering too much. Maybe her sins are catching up with her. I heard she abandoned the child long ago. Some pitied her, bringing her small food. Others mocked her, saying her downfall was her punishment. One evening, her neighbor entered and found Obioma looking so weak. Obioma, you are killing yourself, Esther said. Go and beg your daughter properly. At least she may help you. Obioma wept, covering her face with her hands. I tried. She hates me. Maybe it is better if I die. Esther shook her head. No, a living dog is better than a dead lion. Don't give up yet. Back in her apartment, Oyinye could not focus on work. She sat at her desk, staring at files without reading them. Her assistant, Chiamaka, noticed. Madam, are you okay? Oyinyechi forced a smile. I'm fine. But she wasn't. Inside, a war raged. One moment, she felt strong anger. She abandoned me. She deserves nothing from me. The next, guilt pricked at her heart. But she's my mother. What if she dies before I forgive her? She began to dream strange dreams at night of a crying baby left in the rain, of a woman's voice calling her name, of herself standing between two mothers. She often woke up sweating, confused. One weekend, she traveled home to see Chike and Ngozi. They welcomed her warmly, serving her hot yam porridge. But after the meal, Ngozi held her hand and spoke gently. My dear, we will never force you. Oh, please don't close your heart completely. That woman made a mistake, yes, but maybe she truly regrets it. Onye shook her head stubbornly. Mama, I cannot forgive her. The wound is too deep. Chike sighed. My child, forgiveness is not for her alone. It is also for you. Anger will keep hurting you. Think well. That night, Onye lay awake in her room, staring at the ceiling. Her parents' words echoed in her mind. Back at Obioma's place, Obioma's sickness grew worse. She coughed heavily, her body trembling. Words spread quickly. Neighbors gathered outside her shack, gossiping. She will soon die. I heard her daughter is rich but rejected her. Serves her right. A few kind women argued, no, don't talk like that. Everyone makes mistakes. But most shook their heads, using her as a warning to their children. Obioma heard their whispers through the thin walls. She closed her eyes and cried silently. One morning, a small boy knocked on Oyinyechi's office door. He carried a dirty envelope. Madam, one old woman in our area asked me to give you this, she asked. Onyechi opened it. Inside was a shaky handwriting. My daughter, I know you hate me. I deserve it. But please, forgive me before I die. I have nothing. I am sick and I have no one. I only want your forgiveness. Even if you never call me mother, let me hear you say you forgive me. Obioma. Onyechi's hands shook as she read it. Tears blurred her eyes. She folded the letter quickly, hiding it from her workers. Her heart felt heavy like a stone. That night, Onye sat by her window, looking out at the city light. Her chest rose and fell with deep breath. Voices battled inside her. She abandoned you. She doesn't deserve forgiveness. But she's your mother. What if she dies without hearing you forgive her? She pressed her hands to her face and whispered, God, what do? I don't know how to forgive. I don't know how to forget. The battle inside her grew stronger, dragging her between compassion and bitterness. And as Obioma's health worsened in the slum, fate seemed to be pushing Onye closer and closer to a decision she could not avoid. The morning sky over Lagos was dull. Grey clouds covering the sun. Rain had fallen in the night, leaving puddles of dirty waters on the street. People rushed to work, jumping over potholes and shouting at bus conductors. But inside the poor slum, in a leaking shack at the end of a muddy lane, Obioma lay weak on her mat. Her body was thin, her eyes sunken. She coughed, her chest rattling with every breath. Beside her, Esther, her kind neighbor, shook her head. Obioma, this sickness is getting worse. Have you gone to the hospital? Obioma gave a faint smile. Hospital? With which money? Even Gary is hard for me to buy. Esther sighed. I told you, go and beg your daughter properly. Maybe she will help you. Obioma's eyes filled with tears. I already begged. She hates me. Maybe it is my punishment. If death comes, let it come. She closed her eyes, too tired to talk. Across town, Onye sat in her office, staring at the letter Obioma had sent her. The words echoed in her mind. I only want your forgiveness. Even if you never call me mother, let me hear you say you forgive me. Onyechi pressed the paper to her chest. Her heart ached. She thought of her adoptive parent, of their sacrifices, of their advice to forgive. But the wound of abandonment was still fresh. Her phone rang. It was her mother, Ngozi. My dear, how are you today? Ngozi asked. Onyechi's voice cracked. Mama, the woman is sick. She wrote me a letter, begging for forgiveness. There was silence. Then Ngozi spoke softly. My daughter, this is your test. Do what is right, not what is easy. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it heals the heart. Onye wiped her eyes. Mama, I don't know if I can. You can, Ngozi said gently, because you are stronger than the pain. 2 days later, Onyechi finally gathered courage. She told her driver to take her to the slum. As the car drove through the narrow, dirty lanes, she looked out the window, her heart pounding. Children ran barefoot in the mud. Women sold roasted corn on broken tables, and the smell of sewage filled the air. The driver stopped in front of a small shack. Madam, this is the place. Onyechi stepped out, her neat dress and polished shoes, looking out of place in the slum. Neighbors turned to stare, whispers followed her. That is her, the rich daughter. She came to see the woman. God works in mysterious ways. Onyechi's steps were heavy as she walked into the shack. The smell of sickness filled her nose. She saw Obioma lying weakly on the mat, her wrapper loose around her thin body. Obioma's eyes fluttered open when she saw Onyechi. She gasped, struggling to sit up. My daughter, she whispered, her voice broken. Onyechi's heart clenched. She wanted to turn and run, but her legs refused to move. Obioma stretched her shaking hands towards her. Tears streamed down her face. My child, I don't want money. I don't want anything. I only want your forgiveness. Please, don't let me die with this sin on my head. Her voice broke as she cried. I was young, foolish, afraid. I chose shame over you, and I regret every day. Forgive me, Onyinye. Forgive me, even if you never call me mother. Onyechi's chest heaved with emotion. Tears filled her eyes. She remembered the anger, the pain, the lonely nights she wondered about her real mother. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling. You left me to die. You abandoned me. Do you know how much that hurts me? Obioma wept louder. I know, my child. I know. I have suffered more than words can say. Please, let me go to the grave without hearing you forgive me. Oyinye knelt beside her. She looked into Obioma's weak, tear-stained face. For a long moment, she was silent, battling with herself. Then slowly she spoke. I forgive you. Obioma gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Her shoulders shook with sobs. Thank you. Thank you, my child. Onyechi wiped her own tears. But listen, she continued firmly. I forgive you, but our relationship cannot go back in time. My mother and my father are my real parents. They are the ones who raised me. I will take care of you, but you will never replace them in my heart. Obioma nodded, crying. I understand. I don't deserve your love. Just hearing you forgive me is enough. I can die in peace now. Oyinye kept her promise. She moved Obioma into a small but decent one-room apartment in a better part of town. She paid for her treatment and ensured she had food. But she also knew she could not heal every abandoned child the way she had healed herself. She began to dream of a bigger purpose. One evening, she told her parents over the phone, Mama, Papa, I want to start a foundation, a home for abandoned children. No child should suffer what I suffered. Chike's voice shook with pride. My daughter, that's a good thing. God will bless you. Ngozi's voice was warm with love. You are turning your pain into hope for others. That is the true greatness. Oyinyechi smiled, tears in her eyes. Months later, the Oyinyechi Foundation for Abandoned Children was launched. Newspapers carried the story. Young businesswoman gives back through foundation. Oyinyechi stood on stage at the opening, surrounded by children in new clothes. She spoke with emotion. I was once an abandoned child. But today, I stand here because of love and second chances. This foundation will give every abandoned child hope. From pain, we can create purpose. The audience clapped, some wiping tears. Obioma sat quietly in the front row, dressed in a clean gown Onyinye had bought for her. She watched her daughter speak, her heart full of both regret and pride. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered to herself, I threw her away, but she rose higher than I ever dreamed. God, thank you for keeping her. She knew she could never erase her mistakes, but she felt peace knowing her daughter had forgiven her and had not become what society feared. As the clapping filled the hall, Obioma bowed her head, whispering again, now I can rest. My daughter is more than I ever deserved. And so the story ended, not with perfect reconciliation, but with forgiveness, boundaries, and a new purpose that turned pain into hope for others. The story of the child she threw away teaches us that mistakes, no matter how painful, can be forgiven, but forgiveness does not erase consequences. Obioma's shame led her to abandon her child, but regret haunted her for years. Onyinye's strength and resilience turned her pain into purpose, showing that love, discipline, and hard work can rewrite any destiny. In the end, forgiveness brought peace. But true parenthood belonged to those who gave her love, not just blood. The moral is clear. Choices have lasting effect, but compassion and forgiveness can transform pain into healing and hope for others. Thank you so much for watching this amazing story about Obioma and Onyinyechi on African Stories by V. If you liked it and felt inspired with their journey, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories by V. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.